Hola a todos. Hoy día les voy a enseñar cómo hacer unos chilaquiles. That's right. You heard correctly. We're making chilaquiles today. All right, let's get started. All right, first things first, we're going to pickle this red onion. That's a big onion. Cut this guy up into thin slices. Try not to cry. And then get your pickling jar handy. Into a pot, bring 1 cup of water and vinegar into a boil, along with 3 tablespoons of sugar and 1 tablespoon of salt. Mix until fully dissolved. I wanted to spice it up a little bit, so I added 2 bulbs of allspice and a clove of garlic. Then I topped it off with my solution. You can save this guy for later. Alright, next here I have 7 guajillo chiles that I cleaned out and 3 chile arboles. These guys are really hot, so just be careful how many you add. Submerge your chiles into a pot of boiling water and then turn off the heat. Maybe put a lid on it and set it aside for at least 20 minutes so they can rehydrate. Here I have 3 pounds of beef chuck roast. I'm going to trim off some of the fat, but not too much, because we're going for maximum flavor here. Cut it up into hand-sized pieces and sprinkle liberally with salt. Okay, no, liberally. Just pour it straight out of the container. That's what I'm talking about. Now we're going to move over to our pressure cooker. I'm going to do pretty much all my cooking in this guy. You can do this in the slow cooker. It's going to take a lot more time. I prefer the pressure cooker. So you want to simmer those for a good amount of time until you get some good caramelization. Let's zoom into that caramelization. It looks real nice. Alright, once you got some good brownage on both sides of your meat, you can cut up about 1/4 of a brown onion. Fry it in those delicious juices that you have. Maybe add a little more oil if you need to and give it a good stir. Once those onions are caramelized, here I have 6 tomatillos, 2 cloves of garlic, and 2 jalapenos. I'm going to pop them all into a blender with about 1 cup of water and blend them on up. Once it's fully blended, I'm going to take that mixture over to the onions and pour it in. Simmer on medium-low and keep that going while I prepare the red chile puree. For this, we'll be placing all of our rehydrated chilies into the blender. I want to let the soaking liquid drain out of them before I add them, and then once they're in there, I'm going to add 1 cup of fresh water. I don't like to use the soaking liquid since it tends to be kind of bitter. So once these are all blended up, we're going to add them to our mixture. If you don't have a really high-powered blender, you'll have to strain this mixture before you add it. With both purees in the pot, we can give them a good stir until it's a uniform blood orange. Into a mortar and pestle, I'm going to add in 2 bulbs of allspice and mash them up. Then add 2 teaspoons of Mexican oregano, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of dried thyme, and a dash of cinnamon. And then mix them all together until they're nicely incorporated. Oh, qué rico. Lastly, I have 2 cubes of beef bouillon because I had 2 cups of water total. I'm going to add those to the pot along with all my spices and my meat. The last thing we're going to add is a little bouquet I made just from my pressure cooker. It has 2 bay leaves and a little bunch of cilantro. Te amo. Finally, we want to add a nice helping of salt. Get everything submerged and bring it to a boil. With everything sealed up, once it starts spewing pressure, you want to put it on all the way low and let it go for an entire hour. After the hour, it's time to release the pressure. Look, it do be smelling that good though. Okay, now you're gonna take out your meat. It should be falling apart at this point, which is what you're looking for. I'm gonna immersion blend those liquids because there's some onions in there and I want my sauce to be uniform for my chilaquiles. I'm just gonna cut my meat up a little finer so it's easier to eat and mix a little juice in there. For this next step, you can totally use store-bought tortilla chips, but everyone knows that homemade tortilla chips are way better. I'm just using some corn tortillas and frying them in some oil until they're crispy enough like chips. Finally, you can crisp up your meat in some lard and then you're ready to dump your tortilla chips into your sauce. And there we have it, folks. Fresh homemade chilaquiles. And these were so good. Once I laid the chips down, I put my crispy meat on top, a little bit of Mexican crema, our pickled onions from earlier, and last but not least, queso fresco. Though these may not be as quick and as easy as nachos, I promise you they are the quickest way to someone's heart.